podcast. I have Stanley Bronstein with me, and of course, we did some pre-promo for this video. So it's an amazing story of body transformation. But one thing I wanted to start with, Stanley, a lot of people, like for instance, when people quit drinking or they make a major lifestyle change, they'll reach a point where they say, I can't do this anymore. I can't live like this anymore. What was that moment for you that started your weight loss transformation?
Okay, that's known as rock bottom. And I don't think I hit rock bottom, but I was getting pretty close to it. Basically, I was I was getting ready to turn 50 years old. It was 17 years ago, almost 17 years ago to the date. It was 4 months before my 50th birthday. I was 320 pounds at the time. I wasn't at my max. My max was 367, which you can see in the picture here. But I was still 320, and I hadn't had a heart attack yet, hadn't had a stroke yet, knees hadn't given out yet, but everything hurt. I didn't feel good. I was miserable, energy low. And I sat there and I asked myself, I was laying in bed, I asked myself a question. And I've been thinking about this for a while. I said, where will I be in 5 years if I don't make some changes? And I didn't like the answer because can you guess what the answer was?
Bad health or worse, I'm sure.
Dead. The answer was, in fact, I'd be in 5 years, I'd be dead, plain and simple. It's cold, hard truth as it gets. And I didn't like that answer. And I said, this is ridiculous. I'm wasting my time. I'm wasting my opportunities. I'm not living up to my potential. I can be so much more than this. I mean, I, at that time, I'd had a very successful business career, both an attorney and a CPA. I did fine there. But I said, come on, this is ridiculous. I'm screwing around here. So turned to my wife and I told her, I said, I'm cooked. Those are the words, cooked. I'm done. Uh, I said, I'm going to stop tolerating BS in my life. And the number one person I'm going to stop tolerating it from is myself. And the number two person is you. And just so you know, we're still married. So anyway, I'll say that before we go any further.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah,
That's great.
spoiler.
That's great.
Necessary spoiler alert. So I said, I'm done. So I said, I'm gonna learn to start eating better now. I'm gonna learn to start exercise. I'm gonna start exercising now. And my exercise of choice is going to be walking. And the reason I picked walking was I thought about bikes, but I said, you don't need any equipment. It's easy to do. You can do it practically anywhere. You can do it almost any time. I'm going to pick walking. So I said, I'm going to start doing that. And one of the very first things I did was I quit drinking alcohol. You mentioned quit drinking. So I did that too. I wouldn't say I was an alcoholic, but I will definitely say I was drinking too much. And I will
Was that
definitely,
was that
huh?
tougher trying to fight two dragons at one time? Because when I quit drinking,
No,
I was
no,
smoking at the time, and the 12-step group
yeah.
that I went to, they said, Robert, don't try to quit smoking at the same. You can put too much pressure on yourself trying to quit too many things. So that's even more incredible that you quit
See, but you
drinking.
do it,
And
but the
yeah,
whole point is you use the word pressure. We're going to talk about that. It's so much of it's funny. I transformed my body, but 90% of it was in my head.
mm.
It's mental. And put pressure on yourself. I assume you've quit both by now. Is that
Yes, for
good? Good.
both
Congratulations.
alcohol over 20 years and smoking, I think, as far as a cigarette is concerned, probably 7 years because I
Yeah.
vaped for a while after that, which is, it's
You,
not.
you know, you know what's amazing? I remember I interviewed a lady many years ago. She said, I'm an alcoholic. I said, when's the last time you had a drink? She said, 30 years ago. And I told her, I said, I think you've got it under control. But so I just did both. I quit eating red meat. I quit eating beef and pork at the same time. And I quit drinking soda pop. Out of those 2-liter bottles, Diet Pepsi, caffeine free, I was drinking three of those a day.
Phew, oh my God.
So I quit. all of those all at the same time. And to be honest with you, I, I, is it harder to do it all at once? Yes and no. You don't have to do it all at once, but sometimes I think it's better to do. Depends on what your personality is. I've got what you call an addictive personality. I'm one of those guys, I tend to go all in. And so I mean, that just shows you how fed up I was, where I said, I'm done. So I did all those things and I started walking. And I had good days and I had bad days. I had, it wasn't perfect. You don't have to be perfect, but the one thing I did right was that I kept going.
And walking was the primary physical activity, correct? I mean, there
Yes,
wasn't any,
yes,
and you
totally.
still promote that as a good way to
Oh,
to
I,
start.
I, I absolutely don't promote it. But when I started out, I had trouble walking a block or two. And that's how bad I was. And to show you the power of the mind and to show you how I practice what I call constant and never-ending improvement. The goal is to be better today than you were yesterday, be better tomorrow than you were today. Beat yesterday. That's your goal. And I'm in year 17, getting ready to start year 18 of beating yesterday. And it's like compound interest in the bank, baby. It builds and it builds and it builds and it builds. I'll give you an example. I told you when I started walking in the beginning, I had trouble walking a block or two. Well, I track my mileage. I track what I walk. Since that day, this is what I have done.
That's, yes, that was incredible. I put that up on as part of the thumbnail because I
Yes.
thought, my
You
gosh,
know,
that's a great way to quantify the progress, a third of the way to the moon. I mean,
no,
that's
only
very
30, only
impressive.
30%. I have not.
30%. Yeah, I'm giving the other th
Still,
3.3.
well, that's a lot. That's a big difference.
Yeah.
But, but the point is, and in June, it will be three times around the Earth at the equator.
Wow.
It, it just, it shows you, look, Robert, the experience taught me three things. First of all, I'm a very confident guy. I've always been confident. I've always been successful when I applied myself. Now, would you believe me if I told you the experience of losing this weight, keeping it off, and turning into a walking demon blew my mind? I exceeded what I thought I could do.
And you put a lot of emphasis on mindset, whereas, I think about temptations and for instance, I might have an idea that we're going to do a business lunch or something, and we go to a Mexican restaurant, and then they slide which I hadn't planned on eating the chips, but then they put the chips across. What is it that you did differently as far as your mindset that helped you be resistant to temptations and to falling back into old ways?
Okay. It's one of what I call the four factors. It's the last of what I call the four factors. It's it's commitment. Number 19, commitment. I sat there, I made a decision one time. See, the problem is if you're not when you're not committed, every single time they slide those chips in front of you, you have to make another decision. Am I going to eat this or am I not going to eat this? Well, I made a decision many years ago that when chips get stuck in front of me, I'm not eating it. I don't ask the question anymore. I had Christmas, it was Christmas a couple of weeks ago. I had a lawyer I did some work with. He sent over a big thing of gourmet cupcakes and cookies. He obviously didn't know my eating habits, um, but sent that over. And I wasn't tempted. I wasn't even tempted to eat it. That's how much it's a mind game. So much of life, not especially with weight, it's between your ears. I sat there, I'm not eating this. I wasn't tempted. I didn't think about it. I didn't even ask, should I eat it? The first thing I said when I got it was, who should I give this to? because I didn't want to give it to my wife either because she doesn't, I mean, she's not overweight, but she doesn't need, last thing she needs is more sugar. And she'll tell you the same thing. So I gave it to a neighbor who loves that kind of stuff, who's healthy, and she enjoyed it and everybody's fine. But being prepared in advance, being committed, and it's also tied in with number 18, discipline, self-discipline. And what I mean by self-discipline is eliminating your old negative habits, forming new positive habits. It, and then just being committed to doing those. But then it all falls back to believing you can do it. That's one of the things, this whole experience taught me that I'm more powerful than I ever imagined, but it taught me something else. It taught me that all of us are more powerful than we ever imagined. You are more powerful than you ever imagined. Everyone listening is more powerful than they ever imagined. I am no more special than you are, and you are no more special than we are. I am. We are all special, each and every one of us. We are all capable of so much more than we ever imagined. That's what I learned out of this. But then it all comes down to one thing. You have to be willing to make permanent changes in your life. I mean, it's like, okay, for example, if I wanted to drink a scotch right now, I could drink a scotch right now. I'm fully confident I wouldn't relapse, but I'm not going to because it's not who I am. I don't want to do it. I willingly and consciously made a decision 17 years ago that I'm not going to drink because alcohol does not serve me. I served it. Same thing. I made a conscious decision many years ago that unhealthy food is not going to enter my mouth. I made a conscious decision many years ago that I am going to walk every day. In the last 12 years, I have walked every single day, at least 2 or more hours a day.
Oh, 2 or more hours. Okay, good. I'm
Two,
glad you brought that up because I was curious about that.
two,
I'm sorry. Go
except for
ahead.
3 days when I was sick.
Wow.
Eight years ago. I've been sick one time in 12 years, and I was sick as a dog for 3 days. And if you would have told me that that would have interrupted my 12-year streak, I would have gotten out of bed and I would have walked in.
Oh my goodness. Well, we're very fortunate to have some live viewers, and I really appreciate that. The ones that are subscribers can comment, and we did get like a thumbs up or a strong bicep arm so far on the comments. So thank you for that. For the people that are out there watching live or may come back and look at this later, Stanley, obviously spending 8 years in the Army myself, I understand about mindset and making a decision, and I was able to quit some things myself. I still struggle with food. I really consider that to be the final dragon because everything else I feel like I have under control. And the things that worked for me to stop alcohol, and I drank, you can ask anybody, I drank a lot and I smoked a lot of cigarettes too. The smoking was actually probably tougher than the drinking, if I'm honest. Now, I applied.
I believe that. I really do.
It was. And so my thing is, and again, hopefully this is not coming off as an excuse, but you don't have to smoke. You don't have to drink alcohol, but you do have to eat. And that's one of the biggest struggles
So eat
because
something healthy.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Mhm,
put it this way. I didn't make a commitment to not eat food ever again.
mhm.
I made a commitment to not eat garbage ever again, to not eat unhealthy food ever again. That's all it is. It's narrowing down what you were committing to. Just say, I'm only going to eat healthy food and I'm going to enjoy it when I eat it. See, it all, what is the purpose of the food you eat? Let me ask you that question. What is the
Oh,
purpose?
sure. Yeah, on a fundamental level, it's just to sustain my existence. And
But
look
the
at what those
problem is,
bodybuilders eat. They eat stuff that just looks
yeah.
tasteless to me. With boiled chicken, broccoli, and brown rice. That's
But
not. I
but
eat
but
that every
the
day.
but the problem is, yeah, and there are bodybuilders who also eat whole food, plant-based like I do.
Right.
Sure.
That's
Okay,
true.
and that's what, but it's all the purpose of food is to sustain your body and to fuel your body. However, we live in a society that teaches us the primary purpose of food is to socialize. The primary purpose of food is to get enjoyment. The primary purpose of food is to give you something to do when you're lonely, when you're tired, when you're angry, when you're in a bad mood, to make you feel better. It's not what food's for. Those are all secondary purposes of food. I have a thing that I call not on purpose eating, NOPE. I call it the nope point. When you reach the point where what you're sticking in your mouth is not on purpose, don't eat it. Quit. It needs to be on purpose. Now, with all that said and done, the primary purpose is to fuel your body, not to satisfy you, not to give you enjoyment. But if you eat healthy foods and you eat the right things, you enjoy those too. I mean, I don't eat nearly as much food as I used to. There are many things I used to eat. I mean, I promise you, nobody makes better chicken wings than I ever used to make. The problem was I would eat 18 of them in a sitting, and you'd have a big pile of bones on the desk when I finished. And it, it, I enjoy what I eat very much. I enjoy what I do very much, but it's putting it into focus. I mean, first of all, if you've quit drinking and you've quit, first of all, you don't look too bad as it is, as you do right now. But if you've quit drinking and you quit smoking, learning to eat properly, that's a piece of cake.
Yeah, you would think so.
It is.
It's perplexing to me, Stanley. Yeah, it's because, like I said, the things that I use to quit those things don't work when it comes to food, not at all. And I don't have it figured out. I've even read books on it.
I
I
have a
haven't.
chart. I
Go
have a
ahead.
chart I need to mail you. It's called Not on Purpose Eating. I will email that to you. And it's all in my it's on my website for my weight loss website. All that stuff is there. But
And
that's
you've
what it is.
produced quite, I wanted to get, thank you for bringing that up. I wanted to get into that. You produced a lot of books, Stanley. When I was on the site, I thought, my goodness, there was an immense amount of material there. How is that a part of your day where you put so much time
Yes,
into writing and
I put time into what I'm doing. I'm on a mission. I'm on a mission. That was the second thing I learned out of the whole experience. Okay. The first thing was I'm more powerful than I ever imagined. The third thing was so is everybody else. The second thing I learned was if I'm capable of doing this, what else is out there waiting for me to do that I haven't done yet? Okay. I'm 66 years old. I have no debt. I could retire right now. I don't have to work. I'm working because I want to work. I choose to work. This is what I want to do. I'm convinced that all the experiences I went through, and I do not regret any of them. Now, it's not to say I wouldn't do some things differently, but those experiences were necessary for me to learn what I have learned and to become the person I am today. And I like what I have learned, and I like the person I am today. And I have made it my mission to help other people learn what I have learned and to help get their lives in order. It's what I'm here for. And it's what I do. It's what, it's what floats my boat. It's what makes my socks roll up and down. It makes me happy. And so that's why I produce all that material. And I've done three things with that material. I I put it all out there because not everybody has money. Not everybody wants to spend money, but we all need help. So I put it out there. It's there for free. Somebody can get it for free. They can take care of themselves for free. Or they can contact me with the link at the bottom of the website. They can say they want to work with me privately, or they can say they want to join a group that I put together, work together as a group. The working with me privately, going to group, those cost money. Downloading the stuff for free on the website, that's free. It is my gift to you because I am grateful for what I have and for what I have done. And I feel it is my privilege, not my obligation. It is my privilege to give back
No,
and
that's a
to
great
others.
approach, Stanley.
And I wish
I'm
more
sorry, go
people
ahead.
would take that. I wish more people would take a approach like that. But go ahead.
And at the core of that, Stanley, you have a concept called the way of excellence. Can you
Mhm.
encapsulate that for us and give us a short idea of what that?
Okay. Well, as I was going through this whole thing, I'm a systems thinker. I've always been a systems thinker. And I was going through, I asked myself, and the funny thing was I was a perfectionist also. I was a 367-pound perfectionist. Now tell me there's not not something a little bit off with that. I think I was a hypocrite. But I started saying perfection's not the way to go. The goal is not perfection. The goal is excellence. And the difference is perfection is somewhere you're never going to reach. And it's at the top. You're never going to reach it. None of us are perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. No one listening's perfect. You're not gonna be the first person who's perfect. You're not gonna get there. Excellence, on the other hand, is just getting better and better and better and better. So I said, I'm gonna go for excellence. And then I said, what are the qualities of an excellent human being? And the list evolved. It started out with 14, then it became 15, then it became 20. But it was and it stopped at 20. Because what would happen is I'd come up with a list and then I'd start working with it and I'll say, oh, I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that. So it became 20. And I broke those down into subparts. Think of marketing 101. They tell you, tell someone what the problem is, give someone a solution, and then tell them how they'll benefit if they implement your solution. So every single one of those 20 concepts has a statement of the problem, a a proposed solution, and a benefit from implementing the solution. So you've got so that it turns into a whole big old chart like this, which is on the website, and it's also the big versions on the wall behind me. I mean, that's to show you how big that is. That's 5 feet wide. That poster on the wall behind me. It's big. Took two people to hang it. Uh, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, and you started off with a great point on that, that there's a lot of bad information out there. There's influencers, and I didn't understand this until I became a YouTuber that, and I've seen it recommended on some of the forums that to take a counter approach. So in other words, if the prevailing wisdom is X, and you want to grow as a YouTuber, you've got to start talking about why. In other words, even things that don't work, they say, stop doing this one thing, and it's the one thing that's working for everybody. So people are actually intentionally putting bad information out there, which it shocked me because I'm a fraud investigator, so I shouldn't really be naive. But I was shocked that a lot of people grow their channels based on pushing against what is known to work just so that they can separate themselves from the herd. So if you had a magic wand and could wipe out any of the bad advice out there that's coming from these health and exercise influencers, what would one misconception that you would zap away?
Well, several of them. I saw an article the other day that said, how much walking should you do to lose 20 pounds? The answer is the walking's not going to take off the 20 pounds. You cannot, first thing, you cannot exercise your way out of a poor diet.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
You can't.
The bodybuilders say abs are made in the kitchen, not
Yeah,
which I love that phrase too.
you cannot exercise your way out of a poor diet. It's both. Um, Second thing is there's a big argument between whether animal products are good, animal products are bad, dairy is good, dairy's bad. I happen to, speaking as a person whose father was a butcher who grew up in a house with unlimited meat, um, and going through the whole phase of life, I'm a believer in vegan, whole food, plant-based. None of this processed stuff, whole foods, plants, that nuts, seeds, grains, that type of thing. But I realize that's not what everyone wants to do. It's not for everyone. So what I tell people instead is the less meat you eat, the better. The less dairy you eat, the better. But you don't have to do what I do. The world already has one Stanley. It does not have to have another. What it wants is the best you. But so many people they give they give advice that is based upon what they think people will swallow, not based upon what they should hear, if that makes sense. They like, for example, I will tell someone, I think I think you should stop eating meat. And I think you should stop eating dairy. However, I will say you don't have to do it immediately. I didn't do it immediately. It took me many years to do it. And I did it in phases. And and if you never do it at all, that's fine. But I tell them the less of it you eat, the better you will be. And I, but I don't sit there and say, oh, you're fine. Eat more of it, eat more of it, eat more of it, eat more of it, just because that's what they want to hear. People need to be told the truth. All of us. Just like on that day, February 1st, 2009, I told myself the truth. And the truth was I was committing slow-acide. I was eating myself to death. And I needed to tell myself that. Just like you say in the 12-step programs. You obviously had a reckoning where you said, this drinking's not working for me. And it's not getting me where I want. And you hit some kind of a rock bottom. It may not, hopefully it wasn't too rock bottom.
Thank
But
goodness it wasn't. Yeah, compared
yeah,
to everybody
yeah,
else in my personal
yeah.
circle.
I know. I
But
know.
let me
Good.
shoot you this real quick, Stanley, because we're believe it or not, we these 30 minutes go by very quick, so I want to make sure I get this in. Obviously, you did it and you did it right, and it definitely worked for you. Is there anything that you would tell yourself if you could send a letter back to yourself in time 17 years ago? Anything that would make the journey a little bit more fun or a little bit easier?
First of all, if you look at the first book that's on my website, it's called The Way of Excellence Journal. It takes you through the whole system. And if you look at the cover, it says there's a little box in the top left corner of the cover that says, this is the book I wished I gave myself many years ago.
It's great. Yeah.
So I did essentially write myself a letter. The answer is you can do it. Stop screwing around. Stop wasting your time. Go for it because you're going to have so much fun once you do it. I mean, look, I could have easily knocked, I didn't start getting it together till I was 50. I could easily knock 20, 30 years off my journey, but I would not have learned what I learned. So it's good and bad. But that's why I try to work with people. I try to get to them before they hit rock bottom. Like I work with a lot of lawyers. All the assistance programs for lawyers, they're all geared toward you falling apart. Here's the resources we have to help you. I'm like, why don't you put some resources out there that help the lawyers not fall apart in the first place?
Right. Look at truckers. The documentary that I was thinking about when you were talking earlier about being vegan is the best I ever felt is when I did a 9-day juice fast, and I basically did a version of the mean green.
I did a 62-day juice fast.
Oh my goodness. Well,
Yeah,
I'll tell you, Stanley, after day 4, day 5, once I got over the kind of the
you
not
feel
the
great.
guts,
You feel great.
I honestly felt like I could jump from the ground on top of the roof of the house. And it was unreal. And I think about that and keto works. I don't know how healthy it makes me, but it also makes me feel great. My
Yeah,
brain moves so much
I'm not,
faster.
I've done keto. I'm not an advocate of it.
Yeah.
Just so I tell you, but I'll support
Just
people who do it, but I'm not a fan of it.
if even if it's not meat based, it's still probably not the way to go. Or
I just think it's hard on the kidneys. And well, first of all, it's hard to do keto if it's not meat based. It's pretty
Well,
hard. Not
that's
impossible, but it's hard.
sure. Well, when I got deep into it, I think when people do keto, they do too much protein and not enough fat because the true keto is 80% of your consumption is fat
Yeah, true.
and 20% is protein. So there really shouldn't be that much meat or eggs or protein powder or and when I
Keto for me used to be unlimited bacon.
yeah, that's more
Yeah,
carnivore, but
yeah.
science backs you up, Stanley, because I've read a lot of books by ultra marathoners. I'm not one, but I'm fascinated by anybody who's at
I'm a
the
marathoner.
and the guys like you that are at the elite level, going more than 100 miles, 100 kilometers, they're all either vegans or there's a few that are kind of, I guess Mark Sisson would call it, oh my goodness, it's not keto, but it's similar to paleo. I'll just say paleo because the
Yeah.
audience will know that word. But everybody at the absolute elite level of ultra running, they're all either vegans or they're doing some version of paleo. Nobody's out there eating Domino's pizzas. Nobody.
No,
Zero. None of them.
no, I have over the last 17 years, and mind you, these are all unofficial because I walked them so slowly. The race course would close before I got on. I have walked 106 marathons over the last 17 years.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's just and why do I do it? Because I can. And I want to see what I can. I'm 66. I want to see what I can do.
The, I'll tell you, here in Florida, which we have a lot of people in their silver years down here. I'll sometimes look at the numbers of the local marathons, and we have people in their mid 80s pulling numbers that there's no way I could compete with them. No way. And I'm mid 50s. So
But that's good.
the performance is amazing of some of these people. And I know they're not
Change what you eat, and you will
that,
perform with it.
that's right. That's what I was getting ready. That's right. That's exactly what I was going to say. Well, anything, Stanley, you want to, well, first of all, let's make sure that we direct everybody to the right place. I'll make it sure it's in the description as well.
Two websites.
I love it. Thewayofexcellence.com. And let's see, the other one,
Million pound weight loss
million
challenge.
pound weight loss challenge.
Okay. The
Fantastic.
way of excellence is my whole system. And like all that stuff's there for free, so you can go for it. And you can join my mailing list if you want to, but you do not have to today. You can download without joining. And millionpoundweightloschallenge.com. That's if you want to lose weight. The million pound, you have to create an account, but it's a free account, but you still have to create it because I wanted to regulate who is on the website
Okay.
because I want it to be a safe space. The last thing I wanted to do was create a place for trolls where they could go troll a bunch of overweight people. I didn't want that. So I purposely made it to where it's a safe space.
I appreciate that, Stanley. Final word.
I'm good. I want to see what you do. I want to see what other people do. I appreciate what you're doing, Robert. I think you're doing great work. I like your attitude.
Thank you so much.
I like the fact that you're giving back. This is all good. This is what it's supposed to be about, people. Can you imagine what the world would be if we all started helping each other?
That's right.
Good
Well,
Lord.
and let's mention how we linked up to really quick. We're both members of Podmatch. I think it's a fantastic service. Yesterday, Stanley was the number one host on all of Podmatch, and I'm in the top
Number
1%.
one guest, not host.
No, sorry, number one guest. Yes, that's right. And I'm messing my own thing up because I'm in the top 1% of hosts, and that was a little shocking. But I think it has more to do with how many episodes I'm shooting, not because I'm the next, the
Don't
next Dick Cavett.
look. There's a saying, Robert. Don't show the world a wounded finger, for they will forever bump up against it.
Oh, yeah, that's
Be
good.
proud of what you've done.
Yeah, it's exciting. There's no way that I would run into such quality people like you without Podmatch, without having the platform. And I encourage a lot of people to start their stories, start their podcast, get their message out there like you did. So thank you so much. If you don't mind, Stanley, we'll shut down the YouTube and we'll continue the conversation on
Sounds
on
good.
Zoom. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. I've closed the
Yeah.
YouTube stream down. Any questions for me, Stanley? Because the
No,
episode